Now they are not stopping anytime soon. They are absolutely loving it.
What am I saying again? I feel like coming into it, I didn't really know what to expect as it was my first LAN, but I obviously turned up on the day, and that's all that matters.
Travella comes in! Marcus Rashford opens the account for Luton Town.
First game I was up against Shells, ex-champion in 2020.
And just like that, Shells replying in the best way you can.
Crystal Palace probably the best team in the group coming into it, so we obviously had to compete with them.
There's Rashford, fired into the back of the net.
I know I could get a result, I know I could beat him.
De Bruyne into Haaland!
Going into the last game, we thought it was possible. Of course, we didn't expect it because Palace were definitely the favourites in their games.
So far, so good for Luton Town.
But as soon as I had the scoreline, the commentator saying Shells was down 3 goals.
Palace gutted, as you can tell.
As soon as I had that, I knew if we win our games, then we'll top the group.
3, the goals are flying in for Luton Town.
Felt very good.
This is a full-time result, huge result, Gravison, for Luton Town.
To succeed on this stage, you just have to stay focused throughout your game.
This is only just the start of the journey.
They have done enough, they will be topping the group, and it will be 2 of the newer players onto the scene that have just surprised the pack.
It was important to make a statement because topping the group means that you're fast-tracked to top 8, so you avoid the first day of play.
We are one of the underdogs going into it, but on a good day, you never know what could happen. We could go all the way.
I'll back us.
I don't.
A reminder there of what we have coming up on day 2 of our ePremier League weekend, where Luton Town will join the 7 other qualifying teams in the quarterfinals. FG, you were watching the Luton Town boys dominate Group C. I say dominate. I mean, they had to kind of share bragging rights with CPFC. That group was decided on goal difference.
Yeah, the only group to be decided on goal difference during the last round. I mean, what an impact they made. They were relatively unknown going into the tournament, and I feel like they're 2 guys which we just saw from the VT to watch out for.
Crazy that Harvey in his EPL debut did not lose a single game, 3 wins, 1 draw. But we've got to talk more about what's happening today. So let's take a look at the bracket and find out more about who's still in it to win it. Because if you look to the middle of that bracket, FG, that is a very exciting set of games.
It is indeed an exciting set of games, and my eyes draw straight towards Crystal Palace against Tottenham. We saw Tex speaking about it on commentary before. It is a sensational clash of 2 titans.
Yeah.
In Tom Lees and of course Shells, and we've got Nick said there as well, and we've got Lyrics as well. It's going to be absolutely incredible.
Well, I said before the break, 4 teams yet to play and to save their round in the competition. This is a knockout bracket. Wolves v Burnley on the mainstream, Arsenal versus Sheffield United, and Michael Fisher actually making his debut in the studio because he missed the action last time round due to illness.
Yeah, he did indeed. It's great to see him back, of course. He must have lost his voice, I think, a little bit like you did in the last set, but it's great to see him, and this is what it's all about. I mean, every player, regardless of what happened in the groups, is allowed to be here for today, and it's an opportunity that they have to take because it's knockouts.
They do have to take it. However, Sheffield United undoubtedly the underdogs in this one, even though Billy Joe did have his moments back in January. Who do you think is going to be taking it on the B stream?
Yeah, I mean, Sheffield United are the underdogs, but we've seen so far that underdogs can come out. I mean, I think the first game is so vitally important. We saw that especially with the Manchester United game earlier on in the show, and I think I'm keeping my cards close to my chest. I'm not doing any curse of the commentators like Richard Buckley likes to do.
You're not allowed to do that. You're a guest, not a commentator.
No answers from me.
Fine, I'll bully you during the break. Coming up now, though, Sheffield United are taking on Arsenal on the B stream, and on our main show, Burnley are back in force against Wolves.
Well then, this is the big one now. Before we head into what is going to be another incredible round of action, you saw some of the fixtures potentially coming up. You see Spurs against Crystal Palace jumping off the page, because whoever wins that will be playing Manchester City tomorrow. Gravison, we haven't been disappointed yet, have we, here at the Premier League?
No, especially with the level of FC we have seen at the moment, because we've not only seen great matches, but individually, I think we've seen a big step up from January to now the knockout stages. I think they are performing at their best, all of the players, and I do think we gotta give them props because they've trained at home, and I do think mechanically we've seen advancements. I mean, in the 1v1 situation, in the player switching as well. I do think we are in a great level of FC at the moment, so props to all of the players.
And also the teams. The teams have got so much better, so many incredible items in the game. Let's preview this one for you then. As we said, it's a big one. It's Wolves against Burnley. Obviously, one of these two will be going through to the next stage in the knockouts. They'll be taking, obviously, the winner between Arsenal in their difficult matchup against Sheffield United there. That's obviously our round of 16. We say goodbye to 8 Premier League clubs, and then suddenly only 12 remain. After that round, there'll be just 8 clubs for tomorrow's quarter-final stages here in London for the Premier League. Remember, there is some incredible prizes on the line. A £100,000 prize pool. E-Champions League tickets, FC Pro World Championship tickets, money can't buy prizes. You do not want to miss any of the action this weekend. Let's have a look at Wolves' breakdown of their journey so far in this competition. They did come third in their group. Luton Town obviously did win that. Crystal Palace came second. This was back in late January now. They only did lose 1 game, but for Mitch Hayward, a very experienced man when it comes to the ePremier League. I mean, if Sheffield United were to win, he would be playing against his old club. His form in this tournament is always really solid, Gravison. As you can see, they did not drop a single game.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, in my opinion, Wolves' performance is really solid in the group stage. I mean, just getting 13 points out of 24 possible, it's good. It's not enough to top the group, as we know, because Luton trooped it. But anyways, if you see this performance, you think this team should be really strong in the knockout format. And I do think they're the favorites against Burnley, because Burnley didn't perform as well. 6 points out of 24 possible is not good at all. But then, again, it doesn't matter. Like, it was January, now it's the game changed, everything changed.
It has. The one thing I've definitely noticed, Gravison, is players that maybe weren't as strong individually have come back so much stronger. You know, we saw, in the nice way, Lyrics. Lyrics was definitely not the races back in January. He's completely turned it around, and he put up a great performance there we just saw.
Let me give you 2 more as well, because Lyrics for sure, but then Dragon, 5-1, he didn't play well at all in group stage. And then Shells, he wasn't playing good in the group stage. 2-0 result convincingly, especially in the defense. So I do think we are seeing something here. Experience matters, man. And Hayward, that's it.
The one thing that I love about this matchup as well, obviously with the Burnley players, you've got Sam Mohamed and Brad Colston, 2 massive Burnley fans. For them, this means everything just to represent the club. Obviously, Joey Sharp there as well, one of the coaches behind the 2 players. He used to actually play for Wolves in past ePremier League tournaments as well. He's had to choose which way he wants to go on this game, but we are going to be jumping into it as it stands now. Kicking off first and foremost with our Xbox leg. Mitch Hayward against Brad Colston. Balls from left to right in that away strip. Burnley from right to left as this game is underway. Also is Arsenal, Sheffield United on the B stream. Remember, the winner of that against the winner of this will be in our next round of play today. As everyone's been saying, when's extra time coming, Graf? We haven't seen it yet.
We haven't seen it yet, which is weird, especially in the first half, but still. I don't know what to expect from this match, because I really like the way Brad Colston attacks, especially he's really vertical. But again, Hayward, solid player. I mean, he didn't lose any single games in the group stage. And as you said, when it comes to knockout format, he won't be. I don't think he will be losing like convincingly. But then Brad Colston scores a lot of goals, so I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Let's see.
Well, one of the most interesting stats about Mitch Hayward as this corner does come in now, he's one of the few players that actually records the most passes in games. He averages 167 passes in his individual matches, which you're thinking, is that really a stat? Well, everyone's pretty much been about 120 to 130 passes in an average game. Don't get me wrong, I don't normally count my passes at home, but in short, he likes to keep possession.
Yeah, like if we could just point out to the people watching at home, this could potentially be, I'm not saying to the caliber of the players, I'm just saying the play styles. It could be Liverpool against City. Like, City just builds up slowly in a way, and Liverpool in 3 passes they can score a goal. So this could potentially be what we see now between Mitch and Brad.
Well, it's defended well by Rodri. Does come in at right back. You're wondering why Rodri, defensive midfielder, is in at right back. Well, there's a 6-foot-plus frame of Erling Haaland on the pitch and a Team of the Year build, which is just undefendable, as we've come to learn across the last couple of months. And these pro players at their top level have been trying to work out the perfect way to stop him. Speaking of Rodri now, there's Haaland at that back post. Flick on, his headers and volleys in the box. He is offside, Bukayo Saka. But you're just seeing there a very small intricacy of how simple it can be to create a chance out of nothing. Long ball forward, flick it across. Another day, Saka's onside, and it's a difficult save to make for the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the few things you can do against that cross and then knock down from Haaland is probably offside trap, as Brad did in this chance, because there's not much you can do. Even though if you switch up or if you player lock, it could still get to the striker. So it was really smart to do an offside trap, and it worked out well. Now Haaland, in this chance, he decides to go forward. It's well defended by Virgil van Dijk. Still, he gets a rebound. He finds Gullit.
A second chance here in the edge of the box. De Bruyne and Declan Rice actually gets a start in this one for Mitch Hayward. Henry can twist and turn. It was a time green finish, which basically put everything in the favour of Mitch Hayward. There's 2 shots on target. He looks to create another one now. Rice not going to be the player to finesse from distance. De Bruyne might be. Still patient though as ever.
Yeah, but again, if you keep possession for more than 6 minutes, sometimes your players start to get a little bit slow. That's what happened with the pass to Haaland. But yeah, I think we've seen a really cool, calm and collected Brad Colston. This is not the Brad Colston we've seen in previous years in the Premier League, trying to attack a little bit more. But I do think he needs to find a little bit of more vertical passes in a way, because we've not seen much from him in 27 minutes.
For Burnley, unfortunately, only won 1 game in the group stages back in January.
Yeah.
It was a struggle for them in what was a really difficult Group A. As you said, we can refer back to the group stages all we want. Everyone came through the groups. Even if you came bottom of your group, you still did get the ticket through to these ePremier League finals, which has given you a second chance to really go away, put it right. And as we've seen from a handful of teams, deliver on the biggest of stages for a lot of these players that are playing their first ever esports event. This is the beauty of the Premier League, giving Premier League fans the chance to represent their beloved clubs in a tournament of a £100,000 prize pool. Still goalless. 33 minutes in. Remember, we'll be jumping over to the PlayStation after this one. Kai Harris against Salman Ahmad. And it seems like we may have chosen the wrong game here, because there's 3 goals in Arsenal against Sheffield United at the moment. Arsenal leading 2-1 in that game on the B stream. Declan Rice lofts it in. There's the one more flick on potentially Virgil van Dijk. Didn't know much about that one, but just did enough to get in the way.
I do think sometimes when you're playing and your opponent is passive, you start to get passive as well. Like, it's really easy to just fall asleep into a flow of a game, you know, in a way. But that's when you need to change this up. And this is a really long over the top through ball. Let's see what happens.
Oh, Palmer. 1-on-1 against Kai Havertz. The ball's just flicking around. There's the head down. There's Henry, just offside. You've had a sort of good taste of this game so far, Gravison. 40 minutes in. It really has been a bit of a feeling out process.
Yeah, I mean, they're switching up the play.
So many switches.
Yeah, but I do think sometimes you need to drive and pass it to strikers as well, because you have to speed up things a bit. I mean, your opponent is expecting for you to just switch up the play in a way, so it's okay to do it again, but then when you get it into the other side of the pitch, you gotta speed things up, because if not, it's gonna be a 0-0 result with nearly 0 shots as well.
Keep an eye on the back post here, because Haaland will queue up for it if we're going to be seeing a lofted cross into the box. Declan Rice into De Bruyne. Gullit, can he get round Van Dijk? Yes, he can. Oh, unfortunately, the finish was not great.
I did really like how Mitch found himself in that 1v1 situation between Gullit and the centre-back. He decided to shoot. That's a really great chance. Maybe
He's gone direct there, hasn't he?
Yeah, maybe it's green, it's in. We don't know.
Went to half-time for both teams. It's one of the few games that's actually gone into a 0-0 at half-time. We've been spoiled for quite a few goals here in the Premier League, so stay with us. There is more certainly to come in this second half. But we said that Mitch Hayward, look, he likes to keep the ball, he likes to keep possession, but all we saw there was just switch. Don't get me wrong. We know what the game plan is with Erling Haaland in the box. Keep in mind that there is another game taking place at the same time here. Arsenal leading 2-1 against Sheffield United over on the B stream. If you want to go and follow that one, you can see both players locked in there. That's Billy Joe up against EOJ2. And you can just see a chance. They're building nicely. I think they're about to go in to half-time as well in that game. RSD and Michael Fisher ready to step up when we change console there. Last couple of words going in from Kai Harris, the teammate of Mitch Hayward. He's been a familiar name when it comes to Wolves and their esports activities over the last couple of years. He has been heavily involved, and so has Brad Colston as well. Proud Burnley fan. We're back on the way now, 0-0.
I think we got to clap that steady cam guy. Wow, that was some take. Just pretty much throughout the whole arena. That was a really beautiful take. But yeah, coming back into the second half, I think we need something else. We need things happening, because at this moment they are playing regular. Like, they're not taking any risks, and they need to do it.
Let's see if Burnley want to take one of those risks now. Haaland, red times to finish. Goes to show you. Colston might be feeling a few nerves. So what we're seeing here, it's a late flick onto Erling Haaland, who's right at the back post waiting for it. There he is, and there's the time green. And just like that, Burnley will spring into this game, and we'll see it again on the replay. It's the simple scenario of, you know where the ball's going, but it's a really late flick on into his position. Then you try and peel away, get the ball as far away as possible from any defensive aerial threat, such as Virgil van Dijk. Sorry. 50 minutes in, we finally have a breakthrough, and for Burnley, they'll take that all day long.
Yeah, it's really hard to stop those corner kicks, and in my opinion, there's only just one thing you can do. In the settings, you can change from manual to air and loose balls. So in default, it comes with air and loose balls. So when someone just takes the corner, it switches up automatically. So if you turn it to manual, you can maybe try to put Haaland against Haaland. It's not like a definite solution, but I do think you have to change those settings when you're a pro player, but because if not, that's what happens. It switches up between Haaland and other players, and there's not much you can do, really.
If it's your first time tuning into the Premier League, we are playing on Ultimate Team inside FC24. And to be brutally honest, normally you see sort of the same 9-10 players. Vincent Kompany comes into the fray of things for Burnley at the back. I mean, it's no surprise who he's partnered up alongside. It's always Virgil van Dijk +1. We've seen a few different variations, Gravis. It'll be Rafa Varane's had a few call-ups. Rio Ferdinand, his icon.
Gordon
for the first time.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen a couple of centre-backs, a couple of full-backs. Yeah. Watch for the possible cross. He decides to pass it back.
You see the pause coming in from Wolves. They're not happy about summoning Mitch Hayward. He'll be looking for some sort of tactical change to break down this Burnley defensive structure.
This is good.
Saka finds De Bruyne. He's trying to get into the box. Where's he? The space. Nearly a great win there for Henry. But Burnley able to play away from danger. Will that go for a goal kick or a corner? Goes for a corner. And into a pause menu it goes.
Yeah, and we know what to expect from corners in a way. But yeah, Mitch, in that situation, he recycled the ball back to the strikers. And I do think when you find yourself in those 1v1 situations against the centre-back, you got a skill, or you got to find a speed boost. He decided to look for the pass to other striker, but I do think that was a little bit obvious in a way. It happens to me as a player as well, because I'm a player who passes too much inside the box. And I do think with the current meta, you have to find those 1v1 situations against the centre-back and try to skill and speed boost.
So, what, you know, as a pro in this scenario, Grav, so when's the moment when you're like, let's just take a risk, let's just take a 75-8% chance at the edge of the box, let's just have a shot?
Especially when you see your opponent is 1v1 defending you without the second man press, I cannot pass, because if I pass it, my opponent will take it. So if he's defending manually, I gotta go for the 1v1.
Well, Wolves with a great chance from this corner. Fortunately, didn't go anywhere near. Aaron Hayward was looking for it to go. Well, we just saw in that last game, didn't we, with Spurs, the importance of holding on to a 1-0 lead for your teammate to then come and take over the controller. And then what could happen, as we saw Tom Lees come into life, Benson could get that upgrade for those that missed the game. Spurs with a massive 6-2 win against Newcastle. There's De Bruyne outside the boot. He's going to fall back again. Van der Sar keeping Wolves only 1 goal down. And another pause comes in again from Wolves. They're not happy still.
I'm sure they're not happy because Brad is quickly and easy finding the pass to the strikers, and when you find yourself in those situations over and over again, you're really uncomfortable as a defender.
Hayward, does he fancy a chance from this far out? De Bruyne again, still trying to work it. He just can't find the gaps. The passing lanes just won't open up, and as we say, there's been another goal that's gone in. It's an equaliser for Sheffield United against Arsenal. Over at our B stream, that's 2-2 now. De Bruyne, this is your chance to shoot. Back to Henry again. Still trying to manoeuvre around to find that killer pass or a pocket of space. Henry's offside. Possession will change hands again, and it's just a really frustrating day at the office for Wolves at the moment. They can't find a way through this Burnley backline.
It is frustrating, but I think there was an open space for maybe a finesse shot with De Bruyne a couple of times. He worked the angle well enough, but he decided to pass it back to the strikers. And I do think when you pass it back and forth, you kind of become a little bit too plain in your gameplay. So I do think right now there's 3 things you can do when you're passing it back and forth. You can cross, you can finesse, or maybe you can try to look for the 1v1. He's been trying the 1v1, so maybe it's a good time to try to cross it, to try to find the finesse as well, because really there are a lot of options.
Why do you think he hasn't been getting those 1v1 battles?
Because you don't feel as comfortable in your game style, because Mitch's game style is just passing, which makes sense and which is a good play style. But right now in the meta, sometimes you don't feel comfortable with, I don't know, with the skills, with the way you flick the right switch in a way. So I think it comes down to game styles. I mean, when you're put in a situation in which you're losing 1-0, you're not feeling comfortable, you kind of do what you've always done when you've competed as long as Mitch has done, which is passing, but it's not enough.
We're jumping back into the game now. A couple of changes made. There was a few words between him and his teammate in Kai. There's only 1 goal down. We have to remember that. And there is still a second match to be played, and aggregate scoreline will determine who will be going through to play for Arsenal or Sheffield United. There's that famous big switch of play for Burnley. And Chilwell picking up possession. A second goal for them would be huge. Remember, it wasn't a good day. A few days for them back in January in the group stage, but just goes to show what can change.
Oof. That was close.
It was nearly a golden chance, wasn't it? Heung-min Son did so well just to set off a few of the oncoming runners.
I do think both of them are defending really well, and that's another reason why we're not seeing any chances. The offside trapping is correct. The player switching is correct as well. The use of the second man press is really good as well. So they're defending really well. We have to give them that.
Time to go for Wolves. It's more direct, it's more ruthless in the final third. You see a couple of changes there just to freshen things up. There's the room, there's the chance, and there's that goal that Mitch Hayward has been so patient for. He was probably thinking, would it ever come for him in this game? But he just got a little bit faster in the final third. He was more direct. The passes were punched into the feet of Hullet, who can eventually pull away. And that just sets up the tie. Even Stevens, with 4 minutes left heading into the second match.
Yeah, there is another thing he could have done, which he has done with both Bastian Schweinsteiger and Kevin De Bruyne. It's the playstyle plus, the bullet pass. First time bullet pass from Schweinsteiger to De Bruyne, first time bullet pass into a striker, and a beautiful goal. Playstyles are huge in this game. That's why you can see Thierry Henry with the finesse shot. That's why you see Haaland with the aerial plus. And for example, Tex uses all of the playstyle plus so well. I'm sure we'll see him making a difference tomorrow. Playstyles are such a thing. right now.
They are game-changing, new for this year on FC24 Ultimate Team. And in time of 2 minutes is played, it will be a full-time 1-1 even Stevens between Wolves and Burnley at the end of match 1. But there is still much more to unfold between the two. A frustrating game for Mitch Hayward, who just couldn't really get going, could he, Gravison? He was frustrated by Burnley, he was frustrated by the play style of Brad Colston, but for Brad, there was a game plan to follow. It all worked out pretty well.
I think, yeah, Brad was feeling comfortable with a 1-0 result. He did have a couple of chances which could have went in, but he missed them, and then Mitch really did adjust well because that last goal was nearly impossible to defend against. But yeah, it's 1-1, it's the second leg now, and let's see what happens.
We have a special guest joining us in the commentary area. Leah Ravel joins us. Leah, I mean, we've seen some crazy matches. This is more of the lowest scoring of games we've seen before, but this is the beauty of it. Over 2 legs, the game can just change.
It can indeed. And that's the beauty of a 1-1 draw, is anything can happen in the second leg, and it's all up to the PlayStation players. So we'll see what happens. I don't have a box.
Don't worry.
I'm a little bit shorter.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Of course, you've been following some of the action, obviously, on our B stream as well, where there's been games taking place off stream. There's been some crazy games, especially the Aston Villa one.
Yes, yeah, that one was crazy. It could have gone either way. Aston Villa was leading. Brentford, it was Brentford, right? Brentford was leading, and then Aston Villa came back, and it was wild. Yeah, a lot of action over there.
90th minute, wasn't it? Last kick off the game. There's been some drama here at the Premier League so far. Don't worry, this is only day 1 of the competition. You can see us loading into the PlayStation game now. It's time for Salman Ahmad and Kai Harris to go head-to-head. It's a 1-1 scoreline. It's all to play for. I mean, it's just the best of 1 for these players now, Gravison, really. There's no scoreline to chase.
And again, if we go back to the group stage, which you don't have to think about the group stage as to a previous thing for it to decide like what's going to happen now. But Kai Harris did score loads of goals. He did get 7 points out of 12 possible, and Salman did just get 2 points out of 12 possible. So it looks like Kai Harris should be a favorite, but let's see what happens.
Well, it could be an early start for Burnley. And as this game is on the way, so is the second leg of Arsenal up against Sheffield United. As the guys were saying, great to see Michael Fisher back here at the Premier League. Couldn't make the group stages, but back, who's ready than ever, and he's in a great position as well, because it's 2-2 over there, Leah. I mean, they're both just smash and grabs this, but for RSD, he got a top 8 finish last year of Nottingham Forest, looking to do the same, or if not go further this year of Arsenal.
Yeah, RSD was very powerful last year with a really good performance for Nottingham, and I think, you know, this year as well is going to look to duplicate that performance.
Well, play a lot teased from Kai Harris, who is a familiar name when it comes to Wolves in the Premier League. He has been here a handful of times. And a few people were saying, Grav, sort of behind the scenes, that maybe they are a silent underdog to go quite some way in this tournament, Wolves.
I agree with that. With that phrase, because I mean, Mitch, as we just saw, he's a really good and solid defender, and he manages to keep the possession as well, which is something you would probably find in a person who was playing the first leg. But then Kay, if we look at the stats, he played really well in the group stage, and internationally he's been playing really well in the qualifiers as well. So
that's a big win, that is, for Haaland. Snatched off the toes of Rafael Varane. Can Kai Harris make the most of this one? Back to De Bruyne. Can it turn? He can. He did time that shot green. Unfortunately, it's not going to matter, but to back up your point, he averages a lot of goals per game, just over 2.5 goals a game, what we saw in the group stages from him. And he will create chances, Leo. I think averaging 7 shots a game. When you play against him, you know you're going to have your hands full.
Definitely. I think, like Grav mentioned, he had a very strong group stage, and you know, he has a good experienced partner in Mitch as well. Both of them have been representing Wolves for a long time, playing together for a long time. Obviously, Mitch being an E-Lion as well.
This is good.
This could be a big chance. Kai Harris through with Haaland. It's 1-on-1 against the goalkeeper. It's down. His throw. It's going to be a tap in. He gets the ball, squeezes it through. I mean, I thought the chance may have gone there, but for Kai, it certainly didn't. Still remain composed. A little ball roll. And the timing of that finish to somehow put it through the player's legs.
I mean, Haaland is just a force of nature, really, because from the right back just kind of attacked in a way. So Kay knew it was a chance for, if you got back the ball, then a player lock and really a through pass to Haaland. But then from a really 50-50 situation, he finds himself against the keeper.
The nutmeg too is crazy.
That's Haaland in a word.
Split second earlier or later, it just doesn't happen, does it?
No.
Bene dives into the tackle, goes through his legs, and just like that, Wolves from 1-0 down in leg one. They do lead 2-1 now. Chance to break away again. It's a long ball forward. Haaland's always going to try and jump onto that one. Still all square between Sheffield United and Arsenal. 2-2 over there.
Right back, I think. The pass wasn't meant to be to Henry. That's a shame. It would have been a brilliant build-up.
You saw the run trigger, didn't you, from the full-back there. I mean, this Declan Rice shout has been an interesting choice from both players.
Just gonna say, it's the first time we've seen Declan Rice, no?
I've seen it before in the game between Crystal Palace and Everton, but yeah, we expect Rodri and Vieira to be the right backs. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many good players you can use.
Good step over. Haaland just trying to bundle his way forwards.
Offside? Offside? Offside.
It's an offside, it won't count. Well, back to the point, I think we're so used to seeing Bruno Fernandes in there alongside Kevin De Bruyne. Declan Rice just offers you what you need in that role.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, it has to be the play styles, because De Bruyne has the bullet pass and the finesse, but then Bruno has the long pass as well, so they're just too good.
Bene still in possession here at Burnley. In these final 10 minutes looking for an equaliser.
Nice defense.
Had to be aggressive to Virgil van Dijk, and certainly that's what he was. His new birthday icon, Ruud Gullit, comes as a centre forward. Has been causing all sorts of problems. Saka back to De Bruyne. There's a player lock tease. He's going to use it into Henry, and it's a red time shot. You imagine if it was time green, he could be nestling into the back of that.
Definitely. I think Grav and I talked about this a lot in the games over on the B stream, but we haven't seen quite as many aerial threats as perhaps we thought we would have, given the other competitions this season.
Commentator curse. It's coming. In a few minutes.
Well, I wouldn't mind a few more goals.
I wouldn't as well. I think they're coming from Kay Harris' side because he's attacking really well. He's building up the play, and I think if you want to play FC at his finest, you got to build up, but when you are in the last third, you got to attack. You got to find those 1v1 situations, and he's doing it, especially with the Gullit, with the player locks. He's playing really well at the moment.
Henry back to Gullit. There's the player lock. There's Haaland at the back post. Just offside.
Almost. It was almost the curse.
The build-up there, though, Gravison, was superb. The player locks. He knew exactly what he was doing before the ball was even played.
He's playing really good. Unfortunately, it's just one goal, but the player switching to try to cover this thing exactly, yeah, he's been doing it right.
He's going to get another go at it. Is there a flick down? There it is. Back to Gullit. There it is. Just couldn't really find the clean connection to the finish, and that will do us for half-time. Wolves 2, Burnley 1. And as both games go into half-time, it is still a 2-2 scoreline over there between Arsenal and Sheffield United. 0-0 at half-time there. It seems like a frustrating day in the office for RSD. Just saw 41% possession to Michael Fisher's 59% possession. Remember, both these players have been here at the ePremier League before. I've got a feeling that game might be going into a potential extra time or a late winner. We can only hope.
Could be. We could only hope. Both very stagnant games.
And after that, we'll be going into 4 more matches this evening here in the Premier League. As we'll see Chelsea take on Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest will take on West Ham. Spurs against Crystal Palace. That's the one that everyone has been talking about, because the winner of that one will play against Manchester City tomorrow in the quarterfinals.
I mean, that match, and the match against Manchester City. What can we say?
Whoever goes through, it's going to be a great game, isn't it?
What's the bigger match, though? This one, Palace and Spurs, or City and either one of those?
I think all of them are great, but
I think maybe you'd say the quarterfinals because you're closer to the
yeah, probably.
spots and the tickets, aren't you?
Yeah, and especially Manchester City with Tex and Bonano.
Yeah, that'll be.
It's good, like whoever plays against them is going to be a brilliant match.
Which for them, they've just had to sit back and watch today. Twiddling their thumbs, waiting to get going tomorrow, where they come straight into a quarter-final.
Nice cross.
You're going to go for a direct finish? Yes, he is! Kai Harris!
He hurt us.
The Wolves take a 2-0 lead in this game. It's a 3-1 aggregate scoreline. We spoke about those lofted balls into the box. It's that time green finish there, just to make sure. We enjoyed that one.
He's playing the perfect match. I mean, the player switching in the first build-up from Salman has been perfect from Kai Harris, but then, again, the variety of attacks. We've seen player locks, we've seen crosses, we've seen
Driven shots.
everything. I think he's playing the perfect FC24 match.
The perfect mix of aggression and patience.
And it's not an easy thing to do, especially when you're playing a match in which you're just leading by 1 goal. He's playing really well. And Salman is, I think he's frustrated because of the offside traps and because of the player switching, which has been flawless at the moment. And again, for Salman, it's really a tough situation because in the group stage, he didn't win any single matches. So for him to find himself losing by first 1 goal and then 2 goals, it's really tough for you, like on the confidence side of things.
Especially going into a game, a decider game, a draw. Like you mentioned in a previous match, it could go either way. There's pressure, there's no pressure.
Well, there's been a massive goal in our other game, just to the side of us here. Arsenal have just scored their first breakthrough goal in the second leg. It's RSD that leads now by a goal to nil. 3-2 on aggregate. Remember, the winner of that game, by the looks of it, will be playing against Wolves in the next stage of the knockouts here. But just back to your point, Gravison, it goes to show, forget the group stages.
It doesn't matter, really.
It goes to show you can have a great group stage, but then you're playing, what, 6, 7, 8 weeks later in a very different environment, in a very different format, where it's straight knockout. And if you're not your best, you're out of the tournament, and for some players, it's the end of the road.
For example, we have the example of Manchester United. They were at the bottom of the group. They played the first match, and it was...
Destroyed.
Yeah, 5-1. I mean, Dragon played a really, really near to perfection match, so...
One more goal to seal the deal. It's all perfect, though, isn't it? Even there with Henry, it's a time green finish. So that's the harder way. You could basically time your shots on FC24. If you time it green, it gives you a better chance of that finish. Not just being on target, but ensuring that the goalkeeper can get no way near it. This has to stick! And there is still a lot of time left. 60 minutes on the clock. Salman Ahmad back in the tie for Burnley, and you just feel like 1 goal. You know this more than anyone, Gravison. A goal like that, it just gives you all the confidence, doesn't it?
Especially when you've not been attacking well, but then you find the spaces. You pass it every single time to your strikers because he didn't pass a single pass backwards, and he finds a really good chance to Heung-min Son. He did attack really well, and now he needs to keep going because the momentum is in his side at the moment.
How do Wolves react? Great player. Switch and a lock there onto Hullet.
Nice defense. The player switch was really quick. Oh, big mistake.
Giving away their ongoing runners. Haaland, Hullet all queuing up. Henry there as well. Again, possession given away, and we go back down the other end for Burnley. As you see, wherever's been changed from Burnley, Wolves aren't happy about it. Paul's coming in. We'll try and match them up. He'll go and run there, around the corner from Henry. Just needs to be aware of not being offside. There's the flick down, there's the ball back to Henry. In between Kai Havertz and Virgil van Dijk, they just about deal with it.
Yeah. Oof. Lost the possession of the ball, and now you can see how Kay might be a little bit nervous at the moment because he did have the whole leg managed in a way, but then this is FC. This can happen. You can concede a goal, and then the whole momentum shifts in a way. So for him to just pause it now, try to take a deep breath, try to analyze what he can do in this last 20 minutes of the game, I think it's really important. And having someone as experienced as Mitch besides him, it's a big factor as well.
Who certainly has been to this event so many times, Gravison before, and Mitch Hayward for different Premier League clubs in the past. That 90 seconds, I'm sure, will all be being used. Use every second of it, because what a scenario this could be for them to go through to the next round of the competition. Couple of changes being made there. We can just see the players' screens off camera.
What would you do in this situation if you were Kai?
Breathe. No, really.
Yeah.
Breathe for 9 seconds.
Yeah.
It really makes a difference. Like, it just gets your pulse down. It lets you concentrate on the game. Like, it's okay for you to hear what your coach or your teammate is saying to you, but it's also important to just breathe, to try to be calm, because you gotta be cool, calm, and collected to face those last 20 minutes of the game.
You have to think that it might also affect the momentum of Salman Ahmed as well.
Yeah, he just wants to play now because he's playing well at the moment, and he hasn't been playing well for 60 minutes. But that's where the passes come in.
The period in the game, he's on top, isn't he? And he has to just keep pressing, keep creating chances, which I'm sure he certainly will do. We're jumping back in now, last 20 in-game minutes. Who will be going through to the next stage of the competition as we say goodbye to 2 more Premier League clubs. Some of the clubs already eliminated today. Chelsea falling out the tournament earlier on today. Bournemouth, Fulham, Brentford, Everton, Newcastle, all eliminated here at the Premier League in day 1 of the competition.
Really good. Oh, unlucky. Oh, unlucky again. Gets a reflection, but yeah, the second man press from K was really good in there.
And we got a full-time result. Sorry to interrupt, Gravison. It's Arsenal 3-2 winners over Sheffield United. Sheffield United eliminated from the competition. Arsenal do go through. But that one certainly wasn't easy either. 3-2 win. Only 1 goal scored in that second game. RSD just doing enough to get the Gunners over the line. Massive switch of play. Declan Rice finds the error. Looks like he's come on as a left back. His last 10 in-game minutes. Burnley.
You said earlier, Grav, you're maybe a little too slow for a fullback.
Yeah, but he's strong as a defender. But yeah, he's a little bit slow in my opinion. But when you're defending with your full backs at the end, it can work.
Burnley, last 8 minutes now. It's time to go for Burnley. They want to keep their ePremier League tournament alive. It was a risky pass to play into the feet of Hullet.
Now the constant press has to come.
They have paused it. It's just a question if they'll see that pause or not.
Won't be stopped. Rodri is faster than Havertz, yep.
Rodri round the corner. Ruben Diaz. And the back post off the line. Just about. Cole Palmer thought he was on for a match winner. Keeper just about does enough, and it gives enough time for Burnley to go back down the other end. An equaliser would allow them to go into extra time. And Salman Ahmed can make something happen here.
This game's got Grav on the ropes as well.
Yep. Oh, big mistake.
Possession given away again, and you think that was their chance. Doesn't really need to score again, does he? Added time to come in. How generous will the officials be?
1 minute.
It's only 1 minute. Yeah, it looks like Burnley will be eliminated from the competition. It will be Wolves against Arsenal in the next round of the knockout phase here. A very composed Kai Harrison. What was a difficult game to come into. It was even Stevens, as we said, coming into the matchup. Salman Ahmed got going in about the 60th minute, and it was a tough last 30 minutes just to see out the result there. He's done enough, and Wolves go through. Burnley, unfortunately, out of the ePremier League.
Yeah, we're going to see now Wolves against Arsenal match, which is going to be interesting because we just saw the game management from the Wolves to be really good, but then Ricky as well, RSD, is a really good player as well. He manages to just move the keeper really well, to find to be confident enough to be cool and calm as well. And yeah, I don't know what to expect from this match. I think any one of them could win.
Absolutely. I mean, look, Arsenal versus Wolves will be a game that will probably be our last one, actually, to come off air today here in day one. RSD off camera looked across to us, gave us a thumbs up. I'm sure it was a very nervy game. He only won by a goal to nil. But as we said, 8 teams are eliminated from the Premier League. Only 12 remain. As you said, 4 are through to tomorrow already. We've got 8 teams left. We're going into 4 more games very soon.
Very, very exciting. I'm excited for the next round. It should be really good.
Yeah, can I ask production to just have a cam to the face of Ricky first the whole time? I mean, he's entertaining. He's entertaining. He's an entertaining player.
Not a zoom.
Not me.
Not a zoom in.
not my teeth. It's okay.
Anyway, enough from us. Go back to Frankie now, sorry. Before we jump into our final 4 games here at the Premier League.
I hate to break it to you, Leah Ravel. They didn't zoom in on your teeth. They zoomed in on your chin. But Amelia, the makeup artist, did a fabulous job. Now, coming up after the break, 4 more spots up for grabs in the quarterfinals. And unfortunately, the other 4 teams will be going home before Sunday's action. And coming up after the break, it's going to be Manchester United versus Aston Villa.